great deal we can do about it. They're there. We do feel hate. We do feel dislike. We feel fear. We feel anxiety. We may even feel more antisocial emotions from time to time, sadism. Was there ever a student that didn't at one time or another imagine a math student, a math teacher being upside down by piano wires or something? Say the Pythagorean theorem in that position, you son of a bitch. So we have these feelings, and they have to be exercised. They're a part of our emotional body. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to exercise them in a harmless way? You all know that if you feel really bad, you feel really angry about something, you can go to a racquetball court, you can go to a tennis court and beat hell out of the ball and maybe feeling a little bit better or just a little bit tired. So again, I think that horror stories and horror movies offer this kind of harmless moral, this way to exercise the emotions that society says if you do that, you're gonna, you're a bad boy and we'll put you in jail or you'll go out on the road crew or something. So it offers that possibility. Another thing that they do is they offer a reaffirmation of the status quo. I think that most horror movies at the bottom are about as Republican as bankers in three-button suits. And in most cases, what we end up saying when the monster finally strides on is, look at that, And if it's really terrible, we can look at ourselves and say, well, okay. A lot of horror movies seemingly be very moralistic, and what the moral is blessed be the norm. Everything's okay. And finally, I think that horror serves ultimately, as some amusement parks rides do, as a reversal for our own death. One of the facts that we have to face is that 200 years from now, none of us are going to be here, We're stuck with it. And the fact that we're stuck with it and we have to cope with it somehow and yet retain our sanity, the fact that we can even do that is one of the most remarkable things about the human animal. So far as we know, cats and dogs and mice and guinea pigs and those sort of things, they go their round and finally they kick it. Well, they didn't know it was going to happen. It was too bad, but there it is, and it happened, and that's it. Death is a rite of passage, primarily. We know that there are all sorts of rites of passages. They frighten us all. Graduation from high school, if you can remember how you felt, about 3 days before you were going to graduate from high school. How about going into high school? That's bad, too. Oh, man. And some kid says to you, you say to some kid as you approach this rite of passage, well, what's phys ed like? And kid says, well, coach kills you if you can't do 4,000 push-ups. You have to do laps, billions of laps. And the kid is terrified as he goes into this. We symbolize rites of passage in high school and in some places and in some situations in college by initiations of various kinds. It's a going through. We have marriage, and there's never been a man or a woman that approached that, at least for the first time, without some trepidation and some wondering, well, what's this going to be like? And in all these cases, retirement's another one. In all these cases, sooner or later, as you approach this rite of passage, you go to somebody who's been through it and say, well, what's it like? And they tell you, and you go to somebody else, and you get a lot of different answers, and finally you go through it for yourself. But nobody is able to talk to anybody about the rite of passage that is the last one. The one
that was too funny.
Kick it. The only way anybody talks